Hey guys, it's your girl Tiffany Matthews, best darn realtor here in the Baltimore, Maryland area. I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been a minute for me since I've actually done a video, but nonetheless, I'm back. And of course, I wanted to talk to you about real estate. So let's get into it. All right, thanks for sticking around through my introduction. And of course, we're going to talk about real estate, and I want to talk about the shitty real estate housing market right now. I know a lot of you have probably been feeling this. You're feeling frustrated with the housing market. Don't feel alone. You're not by yourself. Buyers are feeling priced out. Sellers are feeling stuck. Rates are just not going down fast enough, right? And then homes are actually sitting on the market longer without the prices dropping as much as we would expect them to because they're sitting so long. And then everybody's just confused. Everybody's wondering what's going on with our economy. What's tomorrow going to bring? I know there's always a big highlight in the news as it relates to politics, and always something, it just feels over the top, right? Like it's just too much to deal with. So again, we're going to talk about these topics, and we're going to try to bring some solutions to the table as well. So let's get into it. What's actually making it feel so bad? Let's talk about it. High interest rates. So compared to, I guess, COVID, post-COVID, a little pre-COVID area, we were at around 3% versus today, the reality of interest rates being 6 to 7%. That's just mind-boggling, right? It's hard for us to conceptually conceive of us jumping from 3 to 6 or 7 within a couple of months, right? So anyway, monthly payments are doubled for the same price of home or the same priced house because of these interest rates that are extremely high. And then again, I will mention there's that buyer psychological shift where we're having to conceptualize the interest rates are just not allowing me to purchase a house. The same house that I could purchase, a couple months before or during the COVID era for a lot less on my monthly payment versus now I can't afford that house because I can't afford the monthly payment. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. And it's so frustrating. Trust me. So I know I've heard a lot of people compare this to the crash of 2008. Let me talk about a little bit, and I'll make this really brief, why this is different from '08. So '08 dealt with a lot of mortgage and lender manipulation and misuse. So it was over leveraging lending. It was no doc loans. It was massive foreclosures during that time. After that experience, the lending process has totally changed. We're not really going through that right now because lenders are more strict. Their underwriting is tighter. They are checking all their dots and they are crossing all those T's, and they are making sure that you can actually afford to purchase a home. As a matter of fact, it's probably more difficult now to purchase a home than it was back before the crash in 2008. So it's not the same. However, it has resulted in the same outcome with the slowing of the market and basically people not being able to afford the homes that they want to purchase. And some people who bought homes during that COVID phase, maybe not being able to afford because they paid over what the house was actually valued at due to heavy competition. So there is a balance to all of this for everything to work smoothly for the buyer side and for the seller side. So we're going to talk about some of those solutions. So let's talk about some solutions for buyers. These are some things that you can actually do right now to help you purchase a house. First thing is you can save your money. Save as much money as you can while you're in this waiting phase so that you have a nice lump sum to utilize for your down payment or buying down the interest rate. That is something that you can do with your lender. You can purchase or add additional money to buy down the interest rate so that you're not paying such a large interest rate. For example, some people are buying down the interest rate for 2 years, or some people are buying it down for 1 year. But either way, and some people are actually, I've seen where they're buying it down for the full 30-year period. And it's not as expensive as you would think that it is. So that is an option of buying down the interest rate so that you can have a lower interest amount on your mortgage, and you will actually be able to afford that monthly payment. The next thing is you can look at the days that the house has been on the market when you're doing your search. You know, homes that have been sitting for 30 to 60 days, you've got some leverage there. You've got some leverage to negotiate with that seller to say, hey, this house has been sitting. You're not going to actually say it's been sitting. Your realtor would probably do that negotiating piece, but the house has been sitting for a while. You know that seller does not want to continue to pay money into a home, especially if they've already moved, or maybe it's hindering them from moving because they haven't been able to sell their current home. So they want to get out of that as quickly as possible. So again, use that leverage to help you when you're doing your home search. Look for those homes that have been sitting for a while. And if it's something that you like, that would be a house to go after. More importantly with that, if it's been sitting that long, chances are you're not going to have as much competition with people putting in offers at the same time that you are. So keep that in mind. Also, you can leverage when you put in your offer to put in a lower offer. You may be putting in a lower offer than what they're asking. You may, instead of doing that, you may say, hey, I need a lot of help with my closing cost. Let's leverage that and get them to pay for your closing costs. Or why not leverage and get them to pay for the closing costs and get them to pay enough money that you can actually buy down your interest rate. Something to think about. All right. The other thing is that I tell my clients all the time, because we get so focused in on location, and location is important. However, don't restrict yourself or limit yourself to one specific area when you could branch out just a couple miles more. And maybe your commute time might be a little longer, but you can expand your search to a couple miles outside of, where you're looking to find more opportunities. You really limit yourself when you are only allowing your realtor to focus in on one zip code. Okay. Because again, remember I mentioned there is an inventory shortage. So when you do that, you're limiting your chances of finding the house that you want at the price you want, and being able to have that leverage that we just discussed to be able to negotiate. Because if you're looking in that area and 100 other people are looking in that area, chances are, you all are going to be looking at the same homes, and that's going to create competition, and you're probably not going to get the deal that you want to get. So keep that in mind as well. expand your search. Okay. The other thing that you might consider doing if it's a house that, maybe you can actually afford it, but it's more than you want to pay for your monthly mortgage. So one of the things that you can do is you can look at a roommate, and that roommate doesn't have to live with you. They don't have to live in your space, okay? But if you purchase a home that has a basement and you're able to maybe purchase it with already all the essentials like bathroom, kitchen, living room area, bedroom area, then that's wonderful. But if not, you may be able to do some renovation to the basement area and add those things, but you can always bring in a tenant to help you pay for your mortgage. And I've seen cases where the tenant is technically paying 80 to 90% of the mortgage while you live on the top level and still occupy your home as well. That is a wonderful way to utilize and leverage your home to bring in revenue. And that is passive income. I'm going to say that again. That is passive income, guys. You don't have to work for it. You just maintaining your home and paying the mortgage off by allowing a tenant to move in. Sellers. So I know you want to get the maximum amount when you're selling your house. I know you want to price it. I have a lot of clients that want to price above what the market value is because they think buyers are going to try to come in so low anyway, and they want to have that negotiating room. But I always say that's such a negative risk to take. Okay. Because you tend to box people out of their home search with your price. And what I mean by that is if I have a client that is trying to purchase a house and they tell me their max amount is $350,000 and you price your house at $400,000, and let's say your house is really only worth about $375, between $375 and $350, but you price it at $400 because again you want to have that wiggle room to negotiate back and forth with a potential buyer. Well, what you end up doing is a couple things. You box out that buyer, that potential buyer who could potentially afford your home because you've priced it at such an amount that they're not even going to look for you in their search because you're over their search limit. The other thing that you're going to do with that is you're going to diminish the amount of potential people coming to see your home that first 2 weeks, which are the most important weeks that your house is on the market. You're going to get the most foot traffic in the first 2 weeks that your home goes on the market. So it is essential that you price your house right. Especially right now, because you want to be strategic, you have to think, what's going to bring me the most buyers to look at my house? What's going to create a little bit of a competition between the buyers and potentially actually drive the price up higher? These are the questions that you want to ask. These are the questions that you should be talking about with your realtor. And again, I always say, price the house right. Price it at the market value. Or you may want to go even a little bit below, like maybe 10% below the market value, because that is going to basically create, what's the word I want to use? That's going to create a little bit more openness for other buyers who may have been boxed out to actually be potential buyers because you will be within their search when they do the search. Hopefully this is making sense, guys. If it doesn't, call me. We can talk if you're thinking about selling your house and I can break it down a little bit more. But The bottom line is you want to create a price point that is going to attract buyers, the maximum amount of buyers. And you want to create a bidding war. Basically, you want to create so many buyers putting in offers that you are in control. You have the upper hand. You get to decide if you want to take it, not take it, if you want to counter with them. What you don't want to have is a scenario where you have priced your house so high, way over what it's valued at, that you don't get anybody inquiring about your house. You don't get anybody coming to see it because they've looked at it. They've looked at the price and they've said, this is priced way too high. What's so special about this house compared to the house next door that's for sale? So you got to think about those things when you're thinking about selling your home. Okay. And I know you've lived in it. I know you think it's just all of that. You've put this work into it. You've done all these things, all these upgrades, and I get it. But keep in mind, it's all about the market value. And it's all about grabbing the attention as many buyers as possible. Okay. Now, the other thing that you could do as a seller is you can offer concessions. So if you're not willing to really budge on the list price, you can offer concessions. You can offer to do the buy down, the interest buy down for your potential buyers. You can offer closing cost assistance to help with their closing costs. You can offer a home warranty. You can even offer just a flat dollar amount that you say you're going to give back to the buyer as a credit for closing by a certain date. So there are many different concessions and incentives that you can offer to attract more buyers to come to the table. All right, so final thing that you can do. You can fix what buyers cannot finance. And this is a big one, guys. Things that the buyer is not able to finance. Like let's say, the roof needs work. And that might be something that's going to hinder them from purchasing your home. You can go ahead and fix that roof or the HVAC or any safety items. Go ahead and make sure that your house is, in the best condition possible for selling it. And the price should match the condition that the house is in. So you can offer to fix those things or finance those things for the buyer. The other thing you can do to help with financing, if you're open to this, you can actually be a lender. You can offer financing for buyers to purchase your home, and they would be paying you a monthly fee. Essentially, you would be financing the house, self-financing, and you would be financing it for that buyer to purchase it. They would not have to deal with the high interest rates. They would be dealing directly with you, obviously with legal representation to set up the documentation properly to make sure that, it's legal and you get your payment on time, etc. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of things here, and I hope that the information was helpful to the buyer side and to the seller side. I'm going to leave it right there this go round because I feel like that was a mouthful, but I will pick up with this video series, and we'll get into talking a little bit more about who's actually winning in this market right now. Is it cash buyers? Is it investors? Is it regular buyers? Who's actually winning? So that'll be the next thing that I prepare to talk about with you guys on my next video. Until then, if you need help purchasing a home, if you are frustrated the way I spoke about earlier in the video, hopefully this was able to add some insight on some things that you can do. But I always recommend you getting some professional help. So I'm in the Baltimore, Maryland area. I'm happy to help you if you live in this area. If you don't live in this area and you just have some questions, I'm actually happy to help you answer any questions that you may have and actually refer you to a local professional in your area. So don't hesitate to call or reach out or jot me a question in the DM section or in the comments. I do read those and I try to reach out and respond appropriately. Until the next time, you guys stay safe and I will talk to you soon. Happy real estate.